What's going on, boxing fans all over the world? It's your boy, Who Kind of Boxing, coming at you with another boxing video for the boxing heads and the boxing mind. White supremacy in boxing. Do people really pay attention to what's going on? I mean, they don't seem to really want to admit it. It's kind of like a nod and a wink. You look at how many opportunities that Lomachenko got at championship fights. You know, I don't think Lomachenko has over 20 fights, and they made him a champion. You look at Tyson Fury. They overlook all the PED cheating. They overlook all of the transgressions that he's done. He was suspended from boxing, yet he is still supported by the status quo. But for black boxers, they're held to a different standard. They're held to a different standard because they are a threat to be the face of boxing. You know, you see, Deontay Wilder, his own countrymen wanted him to fail. They wanted to see him fall because America has a long history of racism against black people and black fighters. Look at Tyson Fury's record. Look at how many times he cheated, how many times he don't even have a boxing license in his own country because he's running away from cheating. But yet he comes to America with loose gloves and he defeat our champion and he's celebrated. Why do you think that is? Why they won't even admit that his gloves were loose and flapping around everywhere because he had blood on his wrist, his hand wraps. You don't get blood on your hand wraps unless your hands are outside of the glove. He had his hands in the wrist part. Go watch the fight again. So even though they see the cheating, it's okay. Even though they see the PED use, it's okay. Because what they really want to see is a white fighter beat a black fighter. And as long as we have this in boxing, then it'll never be an even fair playing field. So Deontay Wilder has another chance to fight Tyson Fury. Are they gonna cut the cameras off when they're wrapping his gloves, and then the excuses come that the commission watched Tyson Fury gloves. They watched his gloves. One of the people from Deontay Wilder's camp came in and watched the wrapping of Tyson Fury hands. We know in boxing that these things can be got around. You can get around all these things. Just look at the fight itself. Look at the first fight, how the gloves were flopping around. Look at Ricky Hatton when he came and adjusted Tyson Fury glove. But the thing I want you to take most out of this is that everybody's blind. Everybody makes excuses even when they see the cheating. And so it's acceptable because the race fans of boxing want their fighter to win, even though they know they're cheating. You know, Canelo, look at it, he's another one. You know, Cumbludorall. You know, he got popped dirty for that. And look how many times he popped dirty. You know, they don't tell you that he popped the second time for the Cumbludorall. They try to downplay the usage of it. But it's okay because he's Canelo. So, look how they keep Jermell Charlo off the pound for pound list, even though he has 3 of the belts at 154. They don't even mention Jermell Charlo. because they don't want black faces on to be the dominant, to be a dominant face of boxing. They want anybody besides black people. And it's not about it's not about being the best of the sport. It's about keeping blacks from winning in the sport. They do their best. Look at Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford was held back from being the best. Look at what they're doing to Spence. They barely mention Spence. They have to acknowledge Spence because of what he's doing in the sport. He's about to become undisputed. So they downplay black fighters and they uplift anybody else they can. Look at ESPN pound for pound list. They only acknowledge the fighters when they absolutely have to. And boy, they will promote any foreign fighter over a black fighter, even if that fighter has done more in the sport. Deontay Wilder only has lost one fight, but yet they're trying to retire him. Deontay Wilder never mentioned anything about retirement. They're trying to say he took step-aside money. So there's a whole propaganda campaign against a man who has never taken PEDs like Tyson Fury has. They cut him off in interviews when he mentioned it. So there's a whole system in place to keep black fighters from being the face of boxing. They rather support Canelo, who is another PED user. So what does that say about our sport that we love? You can even go back to Rocky Marciano and the guys he fought who were over the hill. They made it seem like he fought Ali. Of course, he wouldn't fight Ali. They would never let Rocky Marciano fight Muhammad Ali, even though Rocky Marciano swore he could knock him out, but he would never bring his ass back to that ring to fight Muhammad Ali. But see, we know what time it is because they're going to protect themselves. They're going to protect their reputations, just like Canelo is staying away from Jamal and Jamel Charlo and Demetrius Andre. They're going to protect themselves, just like Tyson Fury tried to run away once he cheated and he didn't want to give Deontay Wilder an opportunity to fight him again. Yeah, he wanted to run away after he know what he's done. So it's going to be interesting to see what will they come up with next. What will they come up with next? Are they gonna protect Triple G forever? Is Triple G forever gonna avoid the black fighters? Now that he's older, he really, he really ducked Andre Ward. They wouldn't allow him to fight Andre Ward because they knew what time it was. So it is what it is, man. These people act like they don't know what's going on. They act like there's no racism in boxing, but it is. And you can see who they protect. That's right. I said it. Canelo and Triple G have been protected their whole careers. Canelo even has a belt that protects him. And they created an entire belt, the franchise belt, the WBC franchise belt, to protect him from black fighters, and everybody knows it. So how can we have this in boxing and say that Canelo is the best? How can you call yourself the best when you know you're not? Yeah, you can protect the hustle. That's fine and dandy. You can look at Floyd Mayweather, and say that Floyd Mayweather did the same thing, but you would be lying. Because Floyd Mayweather fought killers. He fought killers. They never admit that part. They never admit that Floyd fought fought his best opponents. They never admit that he fought Castillo. They never admit that he fought uh, Diego Corrales. They never admit that he beat Hernandez, just when he was 21 years old. Canelo never did none of that. But yet they keep doing this false equivalency, just to justify what Canelo is doing. And Canelo is in his prime. You know, Floyd Mayweather fought Canelo when he was 36 years old. When he was 36, Canelo already had 40 fights by the time he fought Mayweather. And yet they make the excuse to say that he was too young. So you can see a pattern here. Stevenson, he will not get the opportunities that Lomachenko has had in boxing because they don't want him to blow up to be the next Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd Mayweather ruled boxing for a long time, and in that time there was a lot of bitterness. And say what you want to say about Floyd, but he fought the fights and he didn't do what Canelo is doing. Canelo is just outright ducking entire divisions. He's ducking everybody who can possibly beat him. So I say all that to say we're not getting the best fighting the best right now. We're getting a system protecting itself from being at the bottom. We're looking at white supremacy in boxing. So those are my thoughts. This has been Pool Counter Boxing. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. Leave your comments below. I'll see you guys in the next one.